Broadcasting from Slough. Streaming around the world.
This is Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio. Oh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
The podcast.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Hello, Happy New Year. I can say that because this is the first podcast of the year and this is where it gets confusing. Welcome to episode 116 even of the Best Bits podcast, which now transfers to the Best Bits of Breakfast because that's what I have done. So, if you would like to listen live, it's now 6 until 10, Monday to Friday. But in the podcast this week, we have the best bits of the show, including your New Year's Eve, 3 important things, and then we seem to stick with 3 here. Achievements for Lockdown 3. What did you want to achieve during Lockdown 3? And then a very important question which shows if you are as shallow as me or not. Are you as vain as me? And finally, a way to increase the Friday feeling and drag it out and out and out and out so it lasts the whole day in lockdown when you haven't got much else to do. All that and more in this week's podcast. Settle back and enjoy. AtomRadio.co.uk. So this email then about New Year's Eve, that's what we're talking about this morning. With New Year's Eve being forced online this year, and usually you get the person, don't you, who you invite to a house party who won't ever go. They just kind of like move in and take over. We're asking you, did the same thing transfer to Zoom? Did you have one person who's like, please don't go, stay, please, we're having a party. Did you have that or not? I love this, and I can't say who it's from because I did say that I wouldn't give names unless if you didn't want me to, so I won't. We had a New Year's Eve party. It was a work New Year's Eve party, and we all gathered on Zoom, and it kicked off at 9 o'clock. We're supposed to go on until, say, 12:30, 1 o'clock, right? But then one of our managers fell asleep on camera, and when we first noticed this, like a few people said their name, seeing whether it would wake them up, didn't wake them up. And for about an hour and a half, all you could hear was them snoring on the Zoom call. Imagine that. The thing is, though, the next day, social media and our work WhatsApp group was absolutely filled with everyone taking pictures of the Zoom screen. You know, you get the multi-camera screen where you've got everybody that's involved in the call. Everybody had zoomed straight in on him, just lying there or lying back in his chair with his mouth wide open and snoring. Obviously, you can't get a picture of the snoring, but you got the pictures of the mouth wide open. Cannot wait to get back to work today and see him and see what's said about the New Year's Eve party. Oh, imagine that, eh? Especially being a manager as well. Imagine that. Oh, I can't. I'm so glad now that I did nothing.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
It's a mystery, isn't it? Who that is an absolute mystery. I mean, that song was 1982 now, which is 39 years ago. So whoever it was obviously young, I would imagine, when they did it. But I wouldn't say that they are young now. Who is it? Somebody must know. Come on, somebody must know who it is who did that voice at the end of Bucks Fizz.
Yeah! Mark Denholm.
So my question to you then this morning is, if you could go to an uninhabited island and live there, what 3 things would you take with you? Now, I'm not including food or water in that because obviously they are essential. What 3 optional things would you take with you to this uninhabited island?
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Mel says, morning, Mark. I would take my mobile phone and a charger, and I would take makeup. So that's from Mel. That leaves me thinking, who's the makeup for? Who are you moving with? And also, if you're taking your mobile phone and a charger, where are you going to plug it in?
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Morning, Chloe. Thank you for your email. I would take wine and a fridge to chill it, Can I include that as one? No, you can't. That's two, because it's wine and a fridge. I guess you're then going to say I would take glasses as well, unless you're going to drink it out the bottle. And that would be all three. But he says I would take wine and a fridge, I would take makeup, and I would take my phone as well. So you've gone for wine, fridge, probably glasses, makeup, and phone. That's 5, Chloe. That's greedy. Very greedy. Morning, Tom. I would take some beer. I would take my mates. How many of them? You're only allowed 3 things. I don't know whether people count as things or not. And I would also take an iPad so I could watch the football. You see, this is the thing. Like, if you're moving to a deserted island, you're kind of giving up on all these creature comforts, aren't you? Because where would you plug in your fridge? Where would you plug in your iPad to charge it? Like, once it runs out of battery, that's that. And furthermore, if it's a deserted island, where are you going to get signal from? Like either Wi-Fi, or if you've got one of these mobile data iPads, where would you get the signal from?
Mark Denham on Atom Radio.
Phil has absolutely smashed this. Mark Denham at breakfast on Atom Radio. And we're asking you today, if you're moving to a deserted island, what 3 non-essential things would you take with you, given that I am giving you food and water? Phil says, I am so surprised, Mark, that nobody has mentioned this so far, but where are you going to live? Therefore, I would take a tent and some beer and a fridge. Fair point. Chris Rea on the way after the headlines at 8:31.
Mark Denham.
22 to 7. This is Mark Denham at breakfast, loud and proud on atomradio.co.uk, with the music you want to hear, with Alice Cooper's Poison and Alicia Keys and Love Looks Better. We're asking you this morning about lockdown 3. What do you want to achieve? You've got at least 6 weeks worth of lockdown 3 ahead of you. Probably more. Let's be honest about this. We're among friends here. Probably more. What are you looking to achieve in lockdown 3? All because I feel I achieved nothing in lockdown 1, and for that matter, lockdown 2, while everybody else was getting this done and that done and the next thing done, body transformations, etc., etc. Nige says, morning, Mark. I am hoping to get some decorating done and a bit of DIY as well. The wife says that I never ever get it done, and now I have no excuse. Therefore, I best get it done if I want to continue with wedded bliss. Was I supposed to say that bit? I don't know if I was or wasn't, but I have now anyway. Morning, Mrs. Nige. Hope you're all right.
Mark Denham on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
There's something I want to tell you that really annoys me about shopping, and this would not be a problem with online shopping. Yesterday in Asda, I went to the cigarette counter to buy cigarettes, and I had to wait while a man in front of me scratched off the 3 scratch cards that he'd bought and checked them to see if they were winners. I, on the other hand, did not buy cigarettes, take one out, light it, and refuse to move until I'd smoked it, did I?
Mark Denham on Atom Radio.
Sarah emails and says, you cannot smoke a cigarette indoors. No, I know that. It was just an example, Sarah, because I happened to be at the cigarette counter. Equally, if I'd bought a loaf of bread and some sliced chicken and some butter, I wouldn't take a knife and take the bread, butter, and chicken and turn it into a sandwich and eat it before I refused to leave the checkout, would I? Because that would just be silly, the same as scratching scratch cards. Buy them, take them away. If you win, come back and claim it.
Mark Denham.
Third day of lockdown 3. Thank you so much, by the way, if you got in touch yesterday. We asked you about your hopes and aims for lockdown 3. Given that so many people did so many things in lockdown 1, and I felt a little left behind because I didn't do anything, I asked yesterday, what do you intend to do in lockdown 3? And so many people got in touch. I do want to say morning to Dion, who did comment. I shared the Atom Radio post on my Facebook yesterday as well, and I absolutely love Dion. She says, I intend to spend lockdown 3 losing the weight that I gained in lockdown 1. The thing is, like, my friend Dion looks absolutely amazing. She doesn't really need to lose the weight, but each to their own. Today, we're asking you on air at atomradio.co.uk, are you as vain as me? And by that, what I mean is, do you, do more of a good deed for someone if you think that they look nice? That's what I'm trying to say. Would you hold a door open for a member of the opposite sex if you thought, wow, I fancy them? Would you be more inclined to do it than you would if it was someone of the same sex, or if it was someone of the opposite sex that just didn't float your boat? Things like that. Like, I will admit I am incredibly shallow. If I'm driving, for example, and I see a lady who to me looks nice, I will let her out. Other than that, you can just wait and go behind me. So what are you saying? On air at atomradio.co.uk, would you be more inclined to do a nice deed for somebody of the opposite sex if you thought that they looked nice?
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Laura said that is exactly, by the way, how I got with my now husband. I fancied him for ages and I went out of my way to do good deeds for him. Eventually, he asked me out and we went out on a date, and now here we are. We've been married for 4 years. So there is actually a point in being, like, as you call it, vain. It is, though, Laura. It's not just as I call it. It is vain, isn't it? Like, you know, some people, when I've said that to my friends, admitted to my friends, they've called me shallow. But it is what it is.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Homeschooling kicked off for my son yesterday. How did it go for you? I found myself in a strange situation of sitting, watching my son do his schoolwork, and then when it came to lunch, watching him eat his lunch that had been prepared for him, and he then says, right, Daddy, we're going outside to play. And I had to go outside and be a lunchtime controller. Never in my life did I ever think I was going to be like a dinner lady. Obviously, I was never a lady, but you know what I'm saying.
Mark Denholm.
Friday morning, Atom Radio, Mark Denholm with you at breakfast. It is Friday, the 8th of January. Today, among others, is National Bubble Bath Day. So, as you're probably stuck at home and you haven't got much to do, you could just spend the day, couldn't you, in a bubble bath? And if you've got enough hot water to last the day, just keep topping it up. Just stay there all day. Other than supervising the kids, of course, at homeschooling and that. Or indeed, you may have to work from home, or in fact, even go out to work. But the concept's okay, isn't it? atomradio.co.uk. Could you sit in a bubble bath all day long without turning into a prune? Like, I don't know. I used to love baths, but the thing is, you can only stay there so long, can't you, until you just prune up, and that's that. It's a great idea, and if you could, it'd be lovely, but you will prune. And the other thing is, I'm pleased to see now that at least I am not the only vain person in the world. I'm pleased to see that now, because I will put my hands up and admit that I do good deeds in that kind of sense based on whether someone is attractive or not. I put my hand up and I admit that. As did most other people as well. Thank you for checking out episode 116 of the podcast. There will be another podcast next Saturday. That'll be episode 117. Keep yourself well, keep yourself safe, and as you've got nothing to do, hit subscribe on your favourite podcast directory.
Atom Radio. Ooh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
Check out the show live Monday to Friday, 6 until 10 on atomradio.co.uk. If you want to listen on your mobile, you can get all the links to all the directories on the Atom Radio website.
atomradio.co.uk.
Stay home, protect the NHS and save lives.